So let's talk about the three most common types of neurodegenerative disease, and that in a bit more detail. Firstly, there's Parkinson's disease. So here we have an image of a person affected by Parkinson's. The stooped posture is very noticeable. The most commonly recognized sign is uncontrollable shaking of hands, arms, and sometimes legs, and the shuffling short gait. Then we also have cognitive changes in Parkinson's. People show apathy symptoms, attention difficulties, they generally lack focus, and also so-called visual spatial dysfunction, where patients have a hard time recognizing common daily things and items. Even face recognition can become a problem for some, and they no longer are able to recognize even loved ones. Also very common is slowed thinking, difficulties in word finding, difficulties in learning and remembering. So Parkinson's disease is characterized by a sharp decline in brain levels of dopamine, and that is caused by destruction of those neurons, those cells in the brain that produce dopamine. Nobody truly knows why these cells die, but we have to consider genetic predisposition to Parkinson's and also environmental factors, which include radicals and the damage they cause. So what can NADH do for someone dealing with Parkinson's? NADH directly affects cognitive function by stimulating the production of dopamine and serotonin. These are both neurotransmitters involved in memory, learning, cognition, recall, and mood. NADH also improves ATP synthesis, which means energy. It fuels the mitochondria in brain cells and all other body cells. Low levels of NADH result in brain fog, slow mental processing, and even cognitive decline. More NADH means more energy, but also less fog, faster processing, improved cognitive function, even improved motor function. So now ubiquinol, the active form of CoQ10, is another very interesting supplement in this field. It is a powerful antioxidant protecting cells against radicals, but it also helps reverse mitochondrial dysfunction, providing us with more brain energy. I will point this out in detail in a few minutes. By combining NADH and ubiquinol, we are providing synergy to keep the brain firing. And in summary again, NADH stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide, is naturally present in every cell in the body, is a coenzyme critical to the production of cellular energy in form of ATP. More NADH makes more ATP, period. NADH is also sometimes called the spark plug for our energy production. Research shows NADH improves cognitive function, enhances cellular energy, increases endurance. Some even say it extends lifespan. CoQ10, especially the ubiquinol, the active form, is also naturally present in every cell in our bodies, is created by the body and obtained from diet or supplements. It's also necessary to generate energy. Research here is showing the ability of CoQ10 to improve symptoms related to neurological disease. So here we have an image of our energy production cycle. It's called Krebs cycle or sometimes citric cycle. And don't worry, I won't quiz you on any of these metabolic conversions, but I would like to point out a few things on this slide. So just relax and follow my lead. This circular chain reaction is what's happening in the mitochondria of every cell of our body. And it's supposed to run around smoothly, just like a tractor diesel engine, bzzz, producing energy. At the top, you see carbohydrates, fats, or amino acids providing the startup fuel. They get chopped into pyruvate and further converted into acetyl-CoA, which then enters the circular chain reaction. And this is practically how we make energy from carbs, fats, and protein. At the bottom of this cycle, you see how it throws out energy in form of ATP. But any of these steps only happen if all these cofactors, which are marked in yellow, are available at all times. You see here where NADH is involved. B vitamins are involved almost at every step, and there's a few steps where magnesium and CoQ10 are needed. So if only one cofactor is missing due to deficiency, the whole chain reaction grinds to a halt. And this is why it's so important to provide B-complex vitamins, magnesium, iron, and so forth. And again, NADH works as the spark plug for ATP production. The more NADH we have, the more ATP we can make. So if you're further interested in NADH, please Google Dr. Birkmeyer, Parkinson's video. It shows Parkinson's patients before and after intravenous NADH treatment. It's quite an old video, but you'll be amazed. In his work, Dr. Birkmeyer stated, NADH alleviated impairment of motor skills caused by Parkinson's and also improved corresponding cognitive dysfunction. It's quite something to see. Next on our list is dementia and Alzheimer's. First, I'd like to give you some definitions here. Dementia is a chronic or persistent disorder of the mental process caused by brain disease or injury, and it is marked by memory disorder, personality changes, and impaired reasoning. Alzheimer's is the most common subtype of dementia, and it accounts for 60 to 80% of all dementia cases. Alzheimer's disease is irreversible. It destroys brain cells, causing thinking ability and memory to deteriorate. Alzheimer's is not a normal part of aging. So here we have an image where we can clearly see the irreversible damage done by Alzheimer's disease. The cortex shrivels up, that's the outer perimeter of the brain. This area is involved in thinking, planning, and remembering. The hippocampus, this dark area above the brain stem, is severely affected. Here is where we store new memories. And the increased size of these hollow, liquid-filled ventricles is an indication of brain cell death all over the brain, making these spaces increase in size. So what can the ubiquinol form of CoQ10 do to Alzheimer's patients compared to regular CoQ10 ubiquinone? Well, it is highly bioavailable and easily crosses the blood-brain barrier. That is why we use ubiquinol to get more active CoQ10 into the brain. Once in the brain, CoQ10 not only fuels ATP production in brain cells, but also protects against free radical damage. A study published in 2009 in the Journal of Molecular Science found CoQ10 also decreases so-called amyloid plaques in patients with Alzheimer's. Amyloid plaque are proteins and pieces of neurons floating around the brain forming deposits, plaques. And plaque is never desirable anywhere in our body. Even though amyloid plaque is itself not currently considered to be dangerous, but it's mostly used as a characteristic marker of Alzheimer's disease.